So, I bought a Steam Deck.
Wow, who would have thought?
Now, before I go any further into this video, I need to put out a disclaimer that this video is in no possible goddamn way a review because it's too crap to be a review. It's more just a, hey, I bought a thing, so here are my thoughts on this thing. So that being said, here are my thoughts on this thing. So I bought a Steam Deck, and for the first couple of weeks I've owned it, it has actually been one of the most fun devices I've used in quite a long time. Like, do you guys remember on your birthday or on your Christmas, like you would wake up and you found out you got that brand new console or brand new game that you've been asking for months? Well, that's kind of how I felt like with the Steam Deck. So before I continue to give my actual, I guess, thoughts on this thing, I should probably give the backstory on why I even decided to buy one of these things in the first place. So, back when I was in my state of depression, I kind of went down a rabbit hole of finding JRPGs to start playing because I thought, man, I need to find more ways just to waste my time. Because it hit me that I don't really like playing games anymore. I mean, I did like playing games on my 3DS and my Switch because, I actually like using those consoles. But now I've kind of reached a point where I'm getting kind of fed up with the current state of the Nintendo Switch. And I'm not really in a state where I have the urge to go back to play games on my 3DS because, well, I moved on. So I turned to PC gaming, and over the last 2 years, I kind of realized that I still don't play that many games. I mean, I do, quote unquote, play Genshin Impact, but that's more becoming a routine at this point where I log in for, 30 to 45 minutes, do my dailies, and then, move on with my day. And to be fair, that is how the game was kind of designed and built because it was designed for mobile players. And the actual content of the game isn't even an issue because I'm not even caught up yet. It's just the fact I'm just fucking bored. So I thought to myself, why did I like playing games on my Switch and my 3DS so much? And I realized the main reason why I liked playing games on those consoles so much was mainly because most of the games I played on those consoles were RPGs and I could also play them on the go. So I then proceeded to spend like $250 on JRPGs, and then I slowly found down a rabbit hole of the plethora of JRPG games I could potentially sink literal months into. But then, after I started playing my first game, I immediately stopped playing after like 2 weeks. And I'm slowly starting to realize that the issue is that I can't play games on my computer anymore simply because I get too distracted by other things I could be doing on my computer instead of playing games, like, watching a certain type of, art media that, has to do start with the letter H and ends with an I, and you guys probably already know where this joke is going. Then I also realized I'm spending like nearly 2 to 3 hours just going in between classes because I have like an hour break between some classes, and most of the time I just spend that time on Reddit, and I realized I can spend that like 40 minutes playing a game right now. And then that's when the idea struck me, I can just get a handheld gaming PC. Because, over the last couple of years, the handheld PC market has been growing massively, probably because of the Steam Deck, but you know what I'm talking about. So that's when I started looking around for a handheld gaming PC I thought about getting. And at first, I thought I was going to get the Aya Neo 2 Geek. And I know most of you guys would probably think, well, the Steam Deck is the obvious choice due to its price and performance. But at the time, I really wanted something that ran Windows due to comfort and familiarity. So right when I was about to put in my order for the Neo, I thought maybe I should check eBay. So I looked up used Aya Neos, but I didn't really find anything that was actually worth the money. So then I thought, what about Steam Decks? So then I looked up Steam Decks, and yeah, it was about what I thought. The base model going for around $500 because, well, you couldn't really buy the base model Steam Deck for its original MSRP. Except for, when they just magically come back in stock. So I just thought, okay, whatever, I was just gonna get the Aya Neo Geek anyways. But then I asked myself, how easy would it be to upgrade the storage? Because I already had a bunch of spare M.2s lying around that I could use to upgrade it. So then I looked up a video and I saw, I don't want to deal with that. So then I thought, okay, maybe I can just get a 256GB Steam Deck and then upgrade the storage from there, because at the time, I thought that on the base model, you couldn't upgrade the storage because it was soldered onto the board itself, and you couldn't just upgrade it down the line. But then when I found out you could upgrade the storage, I immediately just put in an offer of $440 for some random base model Steam Deck on eBay, and then somehow I got it, and I was like, oh, huh. So here we are now. 2 weeks later, I have my deck, and now here's the question that no one really asked. How is it? And I mean, like,
It's actually pretty good.
The first thing I want to talk about is the overall feel of the Steam Deck. Now, I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to ergonomics, and it is a subjective thing for everyone, but for me personally, I do find that the deck does fit and work in my hands pretty well for me. Because I do have some medium to bigger size hands, and for me personally, the deck is pretty easy for me to hold and use comfortably. The buttons and triggers overall feel pretty fine to me in my novice brain. The touchpads are just fine, and the haptics are just meh, but they serve their function perfectly fine, and that's really all I can ask for. And for the overall size of the deck, well, it does leave some things to be desired. Now, yeah, it is portable, but it's strangely really long. And I get that Valve is trying to make it as thin as possible, but personally, I would have liked something that was a bit thicker and shorter, like how the Aya Neo 2 looks. But then again, it's just a personal thing, and it fits in my bag anyway, so who really cares? Now for the screen, while it is only a 720p class display, it's still a good display. Now, I don't have the anti-glare coating on it that you can get on the 512 gig model, but I mean, in terms of usability, it looks great, it feels great. Some people may be bummed out it's only a 60Hz display, but I mean, like, for me personally, most of the games I'm playing are just console ports, so doesn't really affect me anyways. And yeah, using it outdoors is not the greatest, but I'm using this thing indoors anyway because, I mean, why would I go outside and, like, touch grass? Like, what is that? And now I can finally talk about something that I actually genuinely love about the Steam Deck. And that thing is how genuinely easy it was to open this thing up. I genuinely loved how easy it was for me to just take off the back of the deck, put in a new SSD, reinstall SteamOS, and I can just increase the amount of storage I had by like 8 times in just under 10 minutes. Now, yes, you could just put in a 1TB SD card, but I had the option to do this. Like, why? Why is this something I have to be hyped about? Now, speaking of SteamOS, I was pretty hesitant about using it due to the number of bugs and issues I've heard others talk about it, but after about 2 weeks of using it, I mean, it works. And it actually works pretty damn well, because within the week I got my deck, I tried installing Windows onto it, and that experience was utterly mediocre and borderline shit. Like, it wasn't that bad. It just made me like SteamOS more. But like, that's the thing. I was able to choose to either use SteamOS or Windows or whatever the else I wanted, but instead of being locked into whatever walled garden and general lack of features a console had.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Nintendo Switch. Or literally any other console I used in my life.
Now, to be fair, SteamOS isn't perfect. Like, a lot, and I mean a lot of games just don't work on the deck. And sometimes they do, but you have to install another thing to actually make it run decently okay. Or you have to mod in some files into the game's directory to actually make it run at all. Like, I was trying to mod in the Trails in the Sky Evo voice mods onto my deck because I liked having voice acting, unlike certain other games. And while I am very new to this, this, no joke, took me over 10 hours over the span of 3 days to get this goddamn thing to work.
Sounds like a skill issue to me.
And to be fair, I'm already pretty somewhat technical, and I'm already willing to tinker around to get my device to work better, but for some people, they just don't want to deal with that. And to be fair, I know this is not true for everyone, but to me, I don't believe everyone should have a Steam Deck. And I'm not trying to say that in a gatekeeping way. I'm trying to say this from a comfort and like usability standpoint. In my opinion, the Steam Deck is targeted for a very specific group of people. Those people being, well, people who know what Steam is.
Well, no shit.
Now hang on, I'm not done yet. It's also for people who know the difference between, hey Google, how do I get to Google? And hey Google, how do I prove to people that my Rainbow Pi computer is totally better than their MacBook? Terrible analogy, I know, but my point is, you are going to have to know if you want a Steam Deck and are willing to put up with its issues. Because if not, yeah, just get a Switch if you just want to play games on the go. But nonetheless, I've owned my deck for about half a month already, and I really am liking it so far. And it's slowly reigniting my want to actually play games again. But then again, I mean, I could just watch anime. Ooh, maybe hentai instead.